Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Matt Report. It's brought to you by the Cobos Insurance Center, and a little bit later on, we'll have My Favorite Move, and that's presented by Century 21 Deanna Family Realty. Tim Elkhorn from AM 930 WEOL. Always a pleasure to have sitting right next to me Sean Bennett from the Chronicle Telegram, the area's premier wrestling beat writer. Each and every week here on the Matt Report, we love to talk high school wrestling as far as Lorain County and Northeast Ohio is concerned. So, Sean, warm here in the studios.
Yeah, not so much on the ride to the studios. Yes, very chilly.
Man, oh man. But obviously, action on the mats, that always tends to heat up, especially as we turn that calendar from January into February.
Always cozy in a wrestling gym. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I like the sport. You know, it's the weather's pretty controlled. You know, I flip to softball. I do football. Those are my two end sports, and sometimes it's kind of a bit miserable outside.
You got that right. Well, each and every week here on the Matt Report, we love to talk about the top 3 wrestlers. Sean Bennett keeps an eye on all the results, and then we pick out 3 wrestlers as far as who really stood out. So I'll let you start things off with wrestler number 1.
Yeah, Nick Hickman from Keystone. Nick went 4-0 with 4 pins to capture the 195-pound championship at the West Holmes Invitational. Got a third period pin in the championship match against Indian Valley senior Brodney Parsons. He was the top seed. He was ranked number 20 in the state in Division II. And I want to point out that means there's no Chronicle jinx. He was my feature subject last week. We did a story on Nick. He's having a great year, and he went in there and proved me right.
Was there a perceived Chronicle jinx?
I don't think so,
okay.
But I just want to make sure that people understand when I write about somebody, they excel.
Okay, all right. Wrestler number 2, as far as top 3, Santana Sanchez. He's a Titan from Lorain High. He went 4-0 as the Titans heavyweight and was named the upper weights outstanding wrestler at the Cy Pinter duels at Elyria High.
Yeah, obviously a great performance by him, and the team struggled a little bit. I think they finished 6th out of 8 teams there, but obviously Santana had a great day. And the nice thing that I definitely added him to this list for, besides that great performance, a few hours later he goes up comes back to Elyria High and wrestles Elyria senior Jason Holmes. It was senior night for Elyria. Jason Holmes doesn't quite, he's a little over the 285 limit for heavyweight, and obviously Santana is a heavyweight, so he can't quite legally wrestle in a sanctioned OHSA match. So he was going to be stuck kind of watching the senior night. Santana was nice enough to come in there. They did wrestle a little exhibition before the dual meet started,
Very cool.
And he was able to wrestle a match on senior night. Got a win, actually, got a pin in that match. So great for Santana to come in there and get that done for him.
That's some real sportsmanship.
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
Very, very cool. Matt Zuckerman of Elyria. He was ill all week and then still put together some outstanding performances.
Yeah, I talked to his dad. Same dual meet before Strongsville Saturday night. I talked to his dad before the match, and he was sick all week. He apparently didn't need to cut weight because he was actually under his normal 138-pound weight when he weighed in, or that day before he even weighed in. And they ended up bumping him up. So he actually wrestled up 145 pounds after he had lost weight and was feeling weak. And it kind of showed early because he went down 5-0 in his match against Strongsville's Ben Glickel. But somehow, going down 5-0 after one period, he rallies, gets a last-second takedown. I mean, last second in the third period to tie the match, and then wins it in overtime with a takedown.
Very, very well done. So congratulations. Top 3, Nick Hickman of Keystone, Santana Sanchez of Lorain, and Matt Zuckerman of Elyria. And by the way, speaking of Elyria, real quick, how about the big party for Eric Burnett? 250 career wins. It was a celebratory moment.
It was a little crazy. It was really cool though. They brought the balloons out. They had all the former wrestlers there. It was well planned. That completed also another undefeated season in the Greater Cleveland Conference. Elyria has never dropped a dual meet in the Greater Cleveland Conference. Wow. In fact, I found out just this week from Jack Gillespie, the assistant coach, that was their 54th straight conference dual meet championship. They haven't lost a dual meet since 2010 in the Northeast Ohio Conference. So they've almost gone 10 years without losing a conference dual meet.
That's an amazing run.
Amazing.
It really is. All right, let's talk about My Favorite Move. And again, each and every week, My Favorite Move, a nice video segment that Sean Bennett puts together with a local wrestler. This week, it's Keystone's Ryan Healy. And again, my favorite move brought to you by Century 21, Deanna Family Realty. So set it up for us.
Yeah, Ryan Healy. It's the move he's going to show us is what's called a cross wrist tilt. And I'm kind of excited about it because all our favorite moves so far have been in the neutral position. They've been takedown moves. Well, this is a move already on the mat from the up position. So he's going to kind of show you a way to score points when you've already got the takedown.
All right, so this is Keystone's Ryan Healy, the cross wrist flip.
Tilt.
Tilt. I knew there was a word I was going to miss. I should have written it down, wrote it down, whatever the word is. Let's watch Ryan Healy, my favorite move, brought to you by Century 21, Deanna Family Realty.
My name's Ryan Healy. I'm a Keystone wrestler at 145. I'm a sophomore, and I'm going to show you the cross wrist tilt today. So what I do when I go to hit this move, I make sure I have this real tight and make sure the wrist is on his hip bone right over here. And I'll take this left arm and I'll grab his elbow and come in with my elbow right in between his thigh. And then put my head in and roll. And I make sure I keep my leg up and my knee up in his butt so he can't roll out of it. And I keep my left foot up so he doesn't drop his legs back and possibly tilt, roll out of it. Alright, like that one more time.
So obviously, there you go. Nice mat move. And for those who are kind of newer to wrestling, obviously what they're doing there is he's getting points by exposing his opponent's back to the mat. If he does it for a count of 2 seconds, he gets 2 points. If he does it for a count of 5 seconds, he gets 3 points. So that's a nice move to basically score some extra points after you've already gained points from the takedown.
And the cool thing about my favorite move is I don't have them all memorized, but I think we've had different moves every single week on the Mat Report.
Yeah, I make that happen. I make sure that we're not repeating any moves. So we do look specifically for guys to show new moves every time. We don't want to. Although it wouldn't be a bad thing to show maybe 2 different styles of the same move. And we kind of had that. Mick Burnett had the duck under, and then Dan Fenley from Lorraine had the sit-down kind of duck under, so he kind of showed a variation of it. But yeah, it's something we definitely want to kind of show different things to the young wrestlers out there.
Very cool. Again, thanks to Ryan Healy from Keystone for demonstrating his favorite move. Let's talk about a coach in the area that certainly is one of the well-established coaches in Lorain County, Vinny Corelli over at Amherst, and he is in the spotlight this week.
Yeah, Vinny's obviously been he's in his third Lorain County program as head coach. He was previously at Avon Lake and Elyria Catholic, and he is now currently at Amherst. He was obviously joined us for the coaches show before the season began and filled out his questionnaire. And some of his items were, well, from some of his highlights as a competitor, he was a 3-time state qualifier. He was a state runner-up, and he was the Mentor Meat Grinder district champion, which district champion is almost sometimes as hard to get as just about anything else in wrestling.
That speaks volumes.
How did he get into catching? His high school coach, Buzz Haller. I don't know if you remember Buzz, was the high school coach at North Ridgeville for years and years and years, recently retired. Still see him on the mat sometimes. He's assisting with some various programs, so I do see him out there and about. Top coaching accomplishment for Vinny, he's the all-time winningest coach at Lakewood High School. His top coaching memory, he coached a state finalist right there at Elyria Catholic just a few years ago. And then coaches influenced Buzz Haller, Mike Antonishin, longtime Westlake coach, Tom Evans.
WEOL guy, Tom Evans.
Favorite move to teach young wrestlers, good solid drop step and a sweep single. Favorite college program?
Ohio State. I think they've all said Ohio State.
Yeah, they probably just changed it if they wouldn't have all wrote their questionnaires out at the same time, but they're all writing it out. Ohio State's hot, and they're a great program. Favorite high school tournament is the sectional tournament. You know, a lot of guys go state, other things. He likes the sectional, that first step. Toughest opponent, he says all of them, depending on the week. Free time, he's not a teacher at the school. He's a firefighter. But when he's not working, he likes to travel, go to concerts and sporting events.
Very cool. Vinny Corelli, head coach over at Amherst. By the way, thank you for your service Firefighter. That's very cool. He's one of the members of the safety forces.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Wrapping things up here on the Matt Report. We always like to play some trivia and have Sean Bennett share with you some wrestling tidbits. So what do you got for us?
Well, let's start with the answer to last week. We did the Hall of Fame, Lorain County Hall of Fame, and we asked who were the 2 individuals inducted in that very first class. That was 1987. And the 2 individuals were Frank Fiore, who was the founder of the Elyria High wrestling program and the founder of the Lorain County Wrestling Coaches and Officials Association, who began the Hall of Fame. Frank's accomplishments are like crazy long. He was a state champion at Garfield Heights. He was an All-American in college. I mean, he just a ton of a long list of great wrestling accomplishments. And the other individual was Jim Clark, Oberlin High's first state champion in 1973.
There you go. Always good trivia. I was asking you last week after we got done taping. I was like, I want to know right now. So
yeah.
You folks had to wait a week, or maybe you knew the answers.
Right.
All right, so here we go. Some weekly trivia and some weekly facts for this week.
Well, this weekend is the dual team tournament. The OHSA dual team tournament starts, the regional. So I kind of based the trivia on the dual team tournament. So the OHSA dual team tournament is entering its 7th year. And Keystone advanced to the Division III state tournament in the dual team in the inaugural 2013 season, and Elyria is the only other Lorain County team to advance to the state tournament in Division I, and they've done it the last 4 seasons. So those are our 2 Lorain County schools that have made it down to the state tournament in the dual team. St. Paris Graham has won 6 dual team state titles, and obviously if it's 7 year, that means they've won one every year.
Right.
They won the first 5 in Division II, and last year they won in Division I. Delta has won 4 Division III titles. St. Edward has won 3 Division I titles. Other than those schools, Wauseon, Genoa area, Edison, Massillon Perry, and Brecksville all have 1 title each.
All right.
Elyria has gone 4-4 in its 4 dual team state tournament appearances, finishing as a state runner-up in 2016, advancing to the semifinals in 2015 and 17, and losing in the first round last season. So, our question.
Here's the question.
We're going to keep it dual team related here. And the question is for you. Who are the 4 current Elyria wrestlers who have winning records in the OHSA dual team tournament? And that includes regionals and state.
So current.
Current wrestlers on the roster, Elyria roster. There's 4 wrestlers who have winning records. Who are they?
All right, so who are the 4 pioneer wrestlers currently wrestling right now for Eric Burnett's team that have winning records in the dual team tournament? Good stuff.
Yeah, and the hint is, it's not any of the freshmen because they haven't competed in that.
Wow, that's a great hint. Yeah, okay. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Matt Report. Again, a great big thank you to the Cobos Insurance Center for sponsoring this each and every week, and of course, our good friends over at Century 21 Deanna Family Realty for presenting My Favorite Move. A lot of people to thank. Boy, Steve Mannheim, Bruce Bishop, Kristen Bauer. We've got like an audience here in this nice warm studio. I think because it's warm.
We have a crew now. We have a studio crew.
Sean, thanks to you. Biggest thanks to you, the viewers. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next week on the Matt Report, so long, everybody.